We think love is loud, but real love is often silent. Welcome to this video, because today we're pulling back the curtain on one of the biggest lies we've been told about love, and especially how men express it. You see, we grow up with this idea that if someone loves you, they'll say it all the time, post about it online, buy flowers every week, and make grand gestures straight out of a movie script. That's what we've been sold. But here's the truth. No one talks about real love is quieter, deeper, more consistent. And when a man is truly in love with you, it's not always what he says, it's what he does when no one's watching. If you're waiting for him to give you some big cinematic moment to prove his feelings, you might miss the real signs he's showing you every single day. And that's the tragedy. We overlook true love because it doesn't always look the way we expect. In this video, we're going beyond the cliches. No fluff, no gimmicks, just the raw human truth about how men love when it's real. You'll learn the signs that don't show up in rom-coms, but matter the most in real relationships. So if you've ever asked yourself, is he serious about me? Or how do I know it's not just talk? Stay with me, because what you learn in the next few minutes could change how you see love forever. Let's dive in. You've probably heard the phrase, actions speak louder than words. But when it comes to love, especially how men express love, it's not just a cliche, it's the entire language. A man who is truly in love may not always know the right thing to say. He may not be the most poetic or emotionally articulate, but what he lacks in words, he makes up for in the way he shows up for you. He remembers the little things, not because you reminded him 5 times, but because he was actually paying attention. You mentioned once in passing that you had a job interview or a stressful family dinner, and he checks in, follows up, or even just sends a thinking of you text at the right moment. That's not coincidence, that's care. A man in love listens with his time, his effort, his energy. If you're sick, he's there. If you're overwhelmed, he asks how he can support you, or maybe he doesn't even ask. He just shows up with your favorite comfort food and space to breathe. Love for him becomes action-oriented, practical, present. But here's the key difference. A man who's not serious will also sometimes do nice things, but his actions are often transactional, meant to impress, control, or temporarily please. The man who truly loves you isn't performing, he's investing. He does things for you not because he's trying to earn your affection, but because your well-being naturally matters to him. It's not a strategy, it's second nature. Sometimes love is him quietly making sure your car has gas, or sitting through a show he doesn't like because you do, or holding you during a silence you don't have words for. And no, he doesn't always explain why, because in his mind it's obvious. You matter. So he shows up. When a man listens with his actions, he's not just hearing what you say, he's feeling what you feel. And that kind of presence, unforced, unspoken, consistent, is one of the most powerful signs he's in love with you. And most people miss it. One of the clearest signs that a man is truly in love with you is when he begins to treat you like his safe space. And no, this doesn't mean he suddenly opens up about everything overnight. It's usually more subtle than that, but it's unmistakable once you notice it. Men are often conditioned to be emotionally guarded. From a young age, they're taught to be strong, stoic, unshaken, like emotion somehow equals weakness. So when a man starts to emotionally soften around you, when he begins to share his real fears, his past hurts, or even just his off days, understand he's not doing that lightly. He's doing that because in you he sees safety. He sees trust. He sees home. He lets the armor fall, not all at once, but piece by piece. Maybe he tells you about something that happened years ago that he's never mentioned to anyone. Or he admits that he doesn't have it all figured out. Maybe he finally says, I'm scared, or I don't know what I'm doing right now. These may seem like small things, but for a man who's been taught to always hold it together, this kind of openness is a massive emotional step. And you'll notice when he starts seeing you as his emotional refuge, he won't just come to you when things go wrong. He'll start including you in his plans, his decisions, his inner life. Not because he's dependent, but because he values your presence in it. Because he trusts your perspective, your energy, your calm. This isn't just about vulnerability. It's about emotional safety. He doesn't feel judged with you. He doesn't feel like he has to perform. he can just be. And here's what's important, a man only gives that level of access to someone he truly loves, not someone he's just dating casually, not someone he finds attractive, but someone who feels like emotional shelter in a world that expects him to constantly be on. When you become his safe space, he starts seeing you as more than a partner. He sees you as a foundation. And that's when love stops being a feeling and starts becoming a choice. His choice to trust you with his truest self. When a man is truly in love, something begins to shift, not just in how he treats you today, but in how he starts to think about tomorrow. You'll notice it when his language changes subtly, almost without him realizing it. I slowly becomes we. Plans that used to end at the weekend start stretching into months. Suddenly, it's not just about dating you, it's about building with you. And he doesn't always come out and say, I see a future with you. But you'll hear it in the way he talks. He might say, next summer, we should. Or one day, when we get a place. These aren't just offhand comments. They're quiet glimpses into how seriously he's starting to take this connection. Long-term thinking is a major sign of love. Because men don't plan futures around women they're unsure about. If he's thinking ahead with you in the picture, it means he's already started emotionally investing in the idea of life together. It's not fantasy, it's intention. You might see it in the practical stuff too. He starts saving differently. He talks about careers, moving, kids, or maybe he just asks about your vision for life in 5 or 10 years. And not in a check-the-box way, but with genuine curiosity. Because he wants to know how your future fits with his. What's key here is that his long-term thinking doesn't feel forced. It's not a proposal or a promise. It's a natural evolution of how he sees you. You're no longer just someone he enjoys spending time with. You're someone he wants to grow with, build with, settle in with, not because he's settling, but because he's found something worth committing to. And sometimes the biggest clue is that he starts making decisions with you in mind, whether it's where he lives, what job he takes, or how he spends his free time. You're part of the equation now. When that shift happens, it's not just about love anymore. It's about direction. A man in love thinks about the future because he sees you in it, and he starts aligning his life, slowly but surely, with that vision. When a man is truly in love, he doesn't just show up when it's easy. He shows up when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or emotionally demanding, and that's where emotional sacrifice comes in. This isn't about grand, dramatic gestures. It's not about giving up everything for someone. It's about the quiet willingness to put your emotional needs on equal footing with his own. And sometimes, even above them. A man who truly loves you will face moments where he has to choose between what's easy for him and what's right for you. That might mean holding space for your emotions even when he doesn't fully understand them. It might mean staying in a difficult conversation when every part of him wants to shut down or walk away. It could even mean putting aside his pride to apologize first, even when it's hard. Real love demands sacrifice, not of freedom, but of ego. And for many men, that's the heaviest thing to set down. When he loves you, he'll stretch emotionally, not because you're asking him to change, but because he wants to meet you where you are. He starts to lean into discomfort because your peace matters, your security matters. The health of the relationship matters more than being right or protecting his own emotional walls. You may notice he compromises more on routines, on priorities, on timing, not in a way that loses himself, but in a way that includes you in the way he lives. That's love in motion, because let's be honest, emotional sacrifice isn't sexy. It doesn't look like the movies. It's a man biting his tongue instead of escalating a fight. It's him staying when things get messy instead of disappearing. It's showing patience when you're overwhelmed, or giving reassurance when he himself feels uncertain. These moments are often invisible to the outside world, but to you they feel like oxygen. They feel like safety. They feel like someone choosing the relationship, even when it costs them something. And that's what makes emotional sacrifice such a clear sign of real love. It's not done for show. It's done quietly, out of care, out of choice, out of love that runs deeper than comfort. Respect stops being something you have to ask for. It becomes something he freely gives, without conditions, without needing reminders, and without a rule book. He doesn't treat you well because you laid out expectations or gave him a list of deal breakers. He treats you well because he sees your worth and respects you from within, not because he's afraid to lose you, but because he genuinely values who you are. This kind of respect is powerful because it's not performative. He's not doing the right things to avoid conflict or look good. He's doing them because he cares about how you feel, even when you're not around to see it. He's not scrolling through his phone, hiding messages. He's not flirting with other women under the excuse of just being friendly. He doesn't make you compete with his past, his friends, or his ego. Why? Because to him, loyalty isn't a rule. It's a reflection of how deeply he respects the connection he has with you. And here's the key. He doesn't respect you because of what you do for him, not because you're perfect or easy to love or always calm. He respects you even on the hard days, even when you're upset, even when you disagree. That's when real love is tested, and that's when respect either disappears or deepens. When a man is in love, he doesn't need to be told not to cross certain lines, because in his mind they're not even on the table. He naturally avoids anything that would make you question your value, your place in his life, or his commitment to you. Respect without rules is one of the clearest signs of mature love. It means he's not doing the bare minimum. He's operating from a place of integrity. His love doesn't come with terms and conditions. It comes with consistency. You feel safe, seen, considered. Not because you're managing his behavior, but because he's choosing to protect the space you've built together. That kind of respect is rare. And when a man gives it freely, without needing to be told, you're not just loved, you're honored. One of the most misunderstood parts of male love is vulnerability. For many men, love isn't just about how they feel, it's about how safe they feel to feel, period. And that safety doesn't come easy. Most men are taught to protect their emotions, not express them. To be strong, composed, controlled. Vulnerability for them often feels like exposure, a risk. So when a man begins to open up emotionally, not just about surface level things, but about fears, insecurities, doubts, that's not weakness, that's love, stepping into the light. You'll know he's letting you in when he starts revealing the parts of himself he usually hides from the world. Maybe it's stories he's never shared, emotions he struggles to explain, or thoughts he's been carrying silently. These aren't just words, they're windows, and he's trusting you enough to look through them. But vulnerability isn't always dramatic or obvious. Sometimes it's him admitting he doesn't have all the answers. Sometimes it's him asking for help. Sometimes it's him choosing to stay present in a conversation that triggers discomfort, because the connection matters more than his need to retreat. When a man allows himself to be vulnerable with you, it's not because he's trying to gain sympathy. It's because in that moment, he's not performing, he's being real. And that kind of emotional honesty only happens when love feels safe enough to take the armor off. It's important to understand, vulnerability for a man doesn't mean he becomes emotional all the time. It means he lets go of the pressure to be invincible. He stops hiding behind distraction, sarcasm, or silence. He meets you with truth. And when that happens, the relationship deepens. You stop just being his partner. You become his emotional companion, his truth holder, his anchor. Vulnerability is where love becomes raw, human, and real. It's not always pretty. It's not always easy. But when a man chooses to be vulnerable with you, he's giving you a part of himself that most people never get to see. That's not just love, that's trust at its highest level. If you really want to know how much a man loves you, don't just look at how he treats you when you're there. Pay attention to what he does when you're not around. Because love isn't just about presence. It's about consistency. It's about integrity. It's about the choices he makes when no one's watching. When a man is truly in love, your absence doesn't shift his loyalty, his respect, or his emotional investment. In fact, that's often when his feelings become most clear. He still thinks about how his actions affect you, even when you're not there to see it. He still honors the relationship, even in situations where he could get away with not doing so. Maybe it's how he talks about you when you're not in the room. Does he speak about you with pride, with kindness, with respect, or does he minimize what you mean to him to seem more free or cool to others? A man in love won't downplay you. He'll carry your presence with him, even in your absence. It might show in the decisions he makes. He chooses not to entertain distractions. He doesn't flirt, test boundaries, or leave space for someone else to step in. Not because he's being policed, but because he's already chosen you, even when no one's keeping score. It also shows in the way he protects the relationship from emotional threats, not just physical ones. He doesn't let people talk about you in disrespectful ways. He keeps your personal life private. He treats your connection as something sacred, not just convenient. And here's the quiet truth. A man in love doesn't act differently when you're not around, because his love isn't situational. It's internal. It's rooted. It stays steady, even in silence. Love isn't proven by how loudly someone claims it when you're watching. It's proven by what they do when you're not. So if you're wondering whether his love is real, look past the moments he performs for you and start noticing the moments he doesn't have to, because that's where the truth lives. There's a moment in a man's heart, quiet but undeniable, when he stops just loving you and starts choosing you. And that shift changes everything. Love can happen by accident. It can grow slowly, unexpectedly, without effort. But choosing someone, that's intentional. That's where maturity steps in. That's where love becomes anchored, not just in emotion, but in decision. When a man truly chooses you, he stops keeping the door halfway open. He's not wondering if someone better will come along. He's not mentally keeping one foot out of the relationship, just in case. He's in, fully, deliberately. And you'll feel the difference. You won't have to chase reassurance. You won't be guessing where you stand. You won't feel like you're in a constant competition with his past, his ego, or his fears. Because when a man chooses you, he brings clarity. He brings stability. He brings peace. He starts building with you, not just around you. You're not just someone he's dating. You're someone he's planning with. Someone he considers before making big moves. Someone whose feelings, dreams, and voice factor into how he makes life decisions. And here's what's so powerful. Choosing you doesn't mean everything gets easy. It means he's willing to face the hard parts with you, instead of walking away when things get uncomfortable. It means he doesn't run at the first sign of tension. He stays. He works through it. He values what you've built too much to let it slip. You'll notice his energy shifts from proving himself to protecting what he's chosen. Protecting you. That might mean better communication, more presence, less emotional distance. Not because you asked, but because he wants to show up. When a man chooses you, there's no longer confusion. There's direction. You feel emotionally held, not because you're forcing the connection, but because he's standing in it with both feet. That moment of being chosen, that's when love becomes real, not just romantic. That's when you stop being an option and start being his person. As we come to the end of this video, here's the truth to hold on to. True love isn't about grand declarations or perfect words. It's about what's shown, not just what's said. The kind of love that lasts is quiet, steady, and deeply felt, long before it's loudly proclaimed. Many of us have been conditioned to expect love as a performance. Big speeches, grand gestures, constant reassurances. But real love doesn't need a stage. It's the way he remembers your favorite coffee without being asked. It's how he listens when you don't even realize you're upset. It's the small, consistent acts that speak louder than any "I love you" ever could. If you walk away with one thing from this video, let it be this: watch for the love in the details, because that's where the truth lives. When a man truly loves you, his love is woven into everyday life, sometimes silent, sometimes unseen, but always there. And here's the beautiful part. This kind of love invites you to be your true self. He doesn't need you to perform or pretend. He loves you with your imperfections, your quirks, your strength, and your vulnerabilities. He shows up not to fix you, but to stand beside you. Remember, love is a choice to listen deeply, to respect fully, to be vulnerable, and to invest emotionally even when it's hard. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. It's about showing up consistently, with intention and heart. So if you've been waiting for love to shout from the rooftops, start paying attention to the quiet moments instead. Those are the ones that tell you everything you need to know. Thank you for watching and trusting me with your time. If this video resonated with you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue uncovering the real, raw truths about love together. Remember, love is shown, not just said. And when a man truly loves you, his actions will always tell the story. Before you go, there's something incredibly important I want you to remember. Your worth is never defined by how much someone else loves you. Not by how much attention he gives, how often he texts, or even by how committed he appears to be. Your value isn't a reflection of his feelings or his actions. It's something that's already inside you, waiting to be claimed every single day. Far too often, we tie our self-esteem to relationships. We start measuring ourselves by whether he calls, whether he chooses us, whether he stays. But that kind of thinking puts your happiness in someone else's hands, and it's a trap that leads to confusion, disappointment, and pain. You are worthy because you exist, because you have dreams, passions, and a unique light that no one else can replicate. Love is supposed to add to your life, not complete it. It's a beautiful bonus, not the foundation of your self-worth. When you realize your worth isn't dependent on his love, you stop settling for less than you deserve. You start to expect respect, kindness, and genuine care, not out of desperation, but because you know what your heart deserves. You become empowered to walk away from anything that doesn't lift you up or honor who you are. This shift changes everything. You stop chasing, you stop doubting. You stop trying to fix someone else's feelings. Instead, you focus on cultivating love within, self-love, self-respect, and self-acceptance. And here's the truth. When you stand firmly in your own worth, the right kind of love finds its way to you. Love that celebrates you, challenges you, and chooses you freely, not because you begged for it, but because you command it by knowing your own value. So no matter what your relationship status is right now, hold this close. You are enough. You have always been enough, and nothing, no one can ever change that. Thank you for being here. Remember to treat yourself with the same love and respect you seek from others. You deserve it, always.